In the influencer world, there's a ton of crazy things always happening, but a lawsuit titled the Sad Beige Influencer Lawsuit is definitely in the top list of wild things to be happening in the space. So what if you're a creator and your aesthetic looks something like this? You would describe that as beige. You would describe that as basic. Other creators have the same concept. Definitely much like a little bit darker vibes in the post, but beige. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with beige or basic, right? It's just popular. And when things are popular, you're gonna see it in a lot of people. These two creators are not the only two people with social media posts who do Amazon unboxings that have this type of theme. So in 2024, one of these creators sued the other creator for copying their beige aesthetic. I wish I was joking. In the Verge article, it reads, "It's been stressful and confusing to navigate lawyers having to defend herself," so herself referring to Alyssa Shield, which is this creator, "against accusations lodged at her by another Amazon influencer, copyright infringement, tortious interference with prospective business relations, misappropriating another person's likeness, amongst other accusations." And then this is the other creator, Sydney Nicole Gifford, the creator that is suing Alyssa Shield. She then got married, so on her Instagram page, it now goes by Sydney Nicole Sloanker, is her name now. So the journalist who wrote this article describes both homes as beige and basic, basically. But yeah, look at this. So in her lawsuit, Gifford, who again is Sydney, alleges that Shield copied her, down to a specific frame in her videos. She claims that repeated pattern in Shield's uncannily similar content ultimately cut into Gifford's own earnings, and that they're beyond just video content into real life stuff like manners of speaking, appearance, and tattoos. And the journalist says, while walking through the space, I can't help but recognize a few furniture items I also saw in Shield's home, like cream stools, curved full-length mirror, nesting tables. So here are some side-by-side examples, right? These were pictures for The Verge, but they both seem to have a photo wall with black and white photos framed in square picture frames with a thin black border with a large gap between the black and white photo and the border. So there's like a large gap of white. The only difference is in Sydney's home, the white gap is a lot bigger and she has 6 photos, whereas in Alyssa's home, there's 9. And that according to the article, these two creators have other overlap. They have a history. Apparently, they hung out in person to support each other. Sydney began quizzing Alyssa on her strategies and made passive-aggressive comments about her. And Alyssa said that in the second time they met up together, that she felt unwelcomed in like a get-together. Interesting. So after that, apparently, Alyssa blocked Sydney, and then Sydney was just chilling. And then here we go. Quote, "It was brought to my attention by somebody who saw Alyssa's post on their For You page and thought it was my post, and then saw the account name wasn't my name." So that's what Sydney says. And then apparently a lot of followers have been telling Sydney, "Oh, I've been seeing Alyssa's videos. I thought it was your video." So apparently they have the same vibe and they also promote the same product. And that apparently, Alyssa changed her appearance, like dyeing her hair and wearing a different style that I guess is similar to how Sydney wears her hair. Sydney sent a cease and desist to Alyssa, and Alyssa was really confused about that. And Sydney was suing Alyssa for a whole bunch of different things of willful, intentional, purposeful copyright infringement in dozens of posts across TikTok and Instagram, that there is a pattern of copying. Wow. And that like after she would promote an Amazon product, that a while later that Alyssa would promote the same product. And that apparently according to after Alyssa allegedly started copying her, her earnings dropped a lot. And there were a lot of charges of misappropriating likeness and trying to profit from misappropriating likeness. And Alyssa denies copying Gifford. And Alyssa feels like it's Sydney that's copying her. So apparently, Sydney accused Alyssa of copying her in the Cyber Monday sale event in 2023, where Sydney claims Alyssa used a substantial number of exact products on her storefront shortly after she did, including a 4-piece bowl set and a checkerboard throw blanket. And Sydney says, "Searching for new products on Amazon takes a long time, and I personally choose every product. I purchase every product myself from Amazon, and I only create content around products that are authentic to my brand." So here they have two side-by-side photos posing for the same sweater, and it's a similar pose. They have the same color phone case too, guys. They both have a beige phone case. They're both wearing the sweater, holding the phone and blocking their face with one hand and kind of like pumping up a shoulder with the other, and they both pop one knee out in how they stand. Look, coincidence is a coincidence, man. So here we have more side by side of the same set of plots, right? And it's taken at a similar angle where it's like kind of like a diagonal-ish angle featuring the pots and pans. This is honestly a fair angle though. It doesn't look too similar, right? In terms of pots and pans, there's not too many ways you can capture the image. Like you go top down from the side, I guess, right? If they both put it on the same countertop or something, then I would argue, okay, maybe, right? And quote, the really hard part for the plaintiff in this case is to prove that these photos and videos is that there's something protectable by copyright, that there is creativity going on here that was copied, end quote, says Blake Reed, associate professor of law at the University of Colorado, Boulder. And the article says, the photos in question are relatively banal. Images of a figure wearing generic clothing, shots of a desk with a chair tucked in halfway. And that Alyssa's lawyers argue the imagery Sydney claims is ripped off is just average influencer stuff. It's the Amazon haul equivalent of swinging salon doors in a country western film. And then there's this argument of they have the same tattoo and the same placement. Both of them have a line art flower tattoo. They're not the same flower, or at least it doesn't look like it's the same flower. This was the rose and this looks to be a different flower. Sydney's tattoo is just one flower, whereas Alyssa's tattoo is like 6 different flowers. Like it's like 2 roses, a daffodil, a lily of the valley, like 2 carnations. And then apparently Alyssa dyed her hair and changed it to look like Sydney's. And then according to Sydney, when they both take mirror photos, it looks like they're the same person, except they're different races. And the article adds, but it's impossible to ignore the optics of a lawsuit in which a Black Latina woman is accused of looking and acting too much like a white counterpart. To put it bluntly, in pop culture, it's usually the other way around. And the article says, in terms of the interview with Alyssa, quote, as a person of color who's on the fairer side, I feel like I've never really fit in with the darker crowds or the lighter crowds, says Shiel. Quote, I'm too dark for the lighter crowds, then I'm too light for the darker crowds. So it's a weird spot to be in, end quote. Yeah, so here they have some side by side in a car where they're both wearing gray and they both dyed their hair brown, from black to brown. So here, 2 more side by sides, wow, where like they're both showing off what looks to be a really similar 2-piece set. And over in the article, Sydney seems to reaffirm, I pick things that are unique. I try to pick things that are different. Okay, look, I'm just saying, I completely understand that copying happens. It happens a lot in the influencer space, a lot in the creator space. You can only argue if something is truly copying if there's something unique about it. Nothing wrong with basic, nothing wrong with beiges, browns, and whites, okay? Great color palette, works with everything. There's a reason why so many people like it. It's really versatile. But the thing is, unique enough for you to claim it as your own, you know? Because in order for you to claim something as like creatively different, it needs to not be common. It needs to have like a unique twist that you put on it. And frankly, like if you argue, oh, I dyed my hair brown and she did too, so she's copying me. Do you know how many people dye their hair from black to brown on like a daily basis? Tons. It is probably the most popular hair color change between people with black hair, because everybody with black hair wants to experiment with dyeing their hair, speaking from experience, but they don't want to go super light in the beginning because you get scared that maybe it's gonna turbo damage your hair. So going brown, which is close enough to black, seems like a reasonable baby step into dyeing your hair. So many people with black hair dye their hair brown. Does not mean that she's copying you because she decided to also dye her hair brown. Now, if you have a specific skunk patterning, stripe hair dye color thing going on, and her hair now randomly looks like that too. You got like a split dye where it's like pink to blue ombre on one side and yellow to green ombre on the other, and she pulls up with hair like this. We can argue, wow, this is really, really unique. She's very likely replicating your hair dye pattern. I will believe that. Black to brown, not buying it. Going back to something like this, right? These two, the same sweater, very, very similar pose. So this one, I could argue, I'm like, okay, maybe she's copying with the pose. This one, you know, with the same pose, it's the same sweater, whatever. I'm gonna be so for real though. I have seen so many people post photos like this with this pose. The phone blocking the face with the shoulder popped up, whatever. It's a little freaky that they have like basically the same phone case too. But I feel like this is a super common pose. That's like, again, being Asian and trying to copyright the peace sign by the eye pose, a cultural pose amongst Asian people. Okay, you can't copyright this. Come on, everybody does this. Now, if you have like a really unique posing concept, maybe you sit on the floor, you look up at the camera, they do a 0.5, and then you do like a heart with your hand, and then you edit your hands to be really big. Okay, it is is different enough and enough was changed to where we could argue that this is uniquely yours. Same thing with the pots. Yeah, you guys are promoting the same set of pots and pans. Basically, it's not exactly the same if you look at the listing image. Like hers, I think, has one more pot. This is a set of 5 from Alyssa, and Sydney's is a set of 4 pots. But regardless, these photos look super different. One is taken on a marble countertop right next to a stove, and one is taken on a wooden table. The one with the wooden table, there's like a little metal pot and a little lid that's featured as well. Like, these look so different. It's not even the same set of pots and pans. They look similar because they're both beige pots and pans with wooden lids, but they're not the same. This photo's not even the same. This is, again, do you know how many people have cats that look like my cat, okay? Like, I swear, 1 in every 3 strays looks like my cat. That's like me accusing you of copying me by adopting a cat that looks like my cat. No, there's just a bajillion of these little cats running around. I don't know why they all look like that, but they do. Like this one, you know? Like, I'm gonna be so for real. I have Inkbox, which is like a little pen that you can draw tattoos on yourself, last like 2 weeks. I've drawn like both of these on myself because these were super trendy Pinterest tattoos in like 2021. So maybe that's again like everybody ever with a cyber sigil tattoo. You know how many girls right now have cyber sigil tattoos on each hip bone? It's just because it's popular. Like they look hot, don't get me wrong, but it's just because it's popular. It doesn't mean that they're well, maybe they are copying each other, but it's just what is the trend right now. I think the big thing too is when you focus too hard on what is the same, you tunnel vision and you can overlook differences. I think in the case of Sydney, she was so focused on like, oh, we have this similar. We both have a brown phone case. We both have white walls, that like you start cherry picking. It's a confirmation bias. Yeah, both of you guys have photos where you guys stand in front of a wall and like block your face with the camera. But I would say, honestly, they do look quite different. Like Alyssa's content is very dark. The blacks are really bumped up, whereas Sydney's a lot brighter, a lot more warmer browns to a lot of dark browns that tend to be featured in Alyssa's content. But, there is an update, guys. An update to the sad Beige lawsuit. This is posted to The Verge, written by Miyasato on May 29th. The Beige Amazon influencer lawsuit is headed for dismissal. It reads, a high-profile lawsuit between 2 rival lifestyle and shopping influencers would have rewritten copyright law and changed the creator industry. Now, both parties are asking the judge to dismiss the case. Probably because they realized it's gonna be a big ol' waste of time and money, and the only people that would win from this lawsuit are the attorneys who are gonna rake in the sweet, sweet cash from you guys. The article reads, on Wednesday, the 2 influencers asked the judge to dismiss the copyright case more than a year after it was initially filed and 6 months after I wrote about it in The Verge. Again, there are screenshots of the lawsuit where you can see the side-by-side comparison. And Alyssa was apparently on the hook for millions of dollars in damages. Sydney Nicole Sloanker, who used to be named Gifford, claimed that Alyssa violated her copyright with similar looking videos, and Alyssa's attorney writes that she'll be paying nothing for Sydney's claims, and that in some cases where Gifford alleged copying, Alyssa had actually taken her photos and videos first. Quote, I could have caved to Miss Gifford's demands, but this was a much larger fight and set a precedent that young minority entrepreneurs will not allow ourselves to be bullied, end quote, Alyssa said in a statement provided by her lawyers. Quote, Miss Gifford attempted to intimidate me into leaving this industry. She failed miserably as the truth has prevailed today, end quote. Again, one thing to keep in mind as well is the fact that Sydney is white. Alyssa is a person of color with Spanish and Puerto Rican heritage.
I sued another influencer.
So, this is Sydney's video.
I sued another influencer for copying my beige aesthetic, is what the articles are saying. There is so much more to the story that hasn't been told. I've been silent for 2 years, and I'm finally ready to tell you my story. These are some of my posts compared to another influencer starting in 2023. I discovered so many posts that, in my opinion, were clearly copies of my content. It was not only shocking and frustrating, but it felt like everything I put into creating content was just stolen. I sent many requests to stop, emails, even cease and desist letters, but she kept posting. I felt like I had no other choice but to file a lawsuit. So I'm gonna start from the beginning with all the facts, receipts, and the truth. In December of 2022, I met up with 2 other influencers to get food and film content. We had a great time and texted a ton in our group chat after this. And we planned to meet up again.
I do agree the example she gave were kind of valid. I feel like I would need to see the full video though.
That, in my opinion, were clearly
because like, okay.
And I'm finally ready to tell you my story.
Right, this is the same, yes, this is the same set, the same outfit. Did this neck thing come with the stuff than the shoes. Because if she styled it in that exact same way, okay, I would say you're bordering on a little creepy. If it did come with the outfit, okay, well, you're wearing what it came with it. The lamp is a stretch, man. How are you supposed to show off a lamp? There's only so many ways. You can't go top down onto the lamp. It's gonna look bad. So you have to point at the lamp from the side. So the lamp is a stretch. The outfit, I will say, if she styled it in the exact same way you styled it, a little weird. Because that is very specific. The rose on the neck is very specific.
Other influencers.
Oh, you guys are wearing the same outfit. Gray area for me for this one.
Starting in 2023.
These tables, okay, maybe who bought the table first, man? You don't own the concept of this like round stump table. This one would depend on who bought the table first, in my opinion. If you bought the table first and she ended up with a table like this is very hyper specific because I feel like very few people have like fork stopper looking tables like this. So this can't agree with.
I discovered so many posts.
This one, I think it's a bit of a stretch, guys. Amazon loungewear, I swear by Amazon loungewear will always be superior. Is she inspired by you? Possibly, right? This is not a copy though. Probably talking about the same thing, right? They're both talking about Amazon loungewear. Anyone's allowed to talk about Amazon loungewear. The vibes look really different. Her vibe is very gray, very dark. Sydney's a lot brighter, a lot more white. Again, we'll have to see the full video. I would say if Alyssa also did full caps with the cloud emojis, we can now say it's copying. This just looks to me inspired because you guys are in the same industry, talking about the same thing.
That, in my opinion, were clearly copies of my.
This one, again, can't give benefit of doubt for this one because this one is looking kind of similar.
And texted a ton in our group chat after this. And we plan to meet up again in January of 2023. At the January meetup, it was the same thing and we talked a ton about hanging out again. It was like 6 days later when I realized I hadn't seen this girl's post in a few days, and that was weird because she posts a lot like most creators. So I went to check her Instagram to see if I just wasn't seeing her on my feed, if she was okay. And I was blocked. I immediately called the other girl we met up with. She wasn't blocked and she had no idea why in the world I would have been blocked when we had all just hung out and all talked about how excited we were to have content creator friends in the area. I sent a text in our group chat, never got a reply, so I moved on and didn't think about it again. And people started sending me her content because they thought it was mine. It turns out.
Okay, I'm just gonna be so for real right now. Don't trust that. When your audience sends you videos being like, I think it's yours, a lot of times it gets to a creator's head because they're like, oh, this is like really bad. This is at least my take. Because a lot of times your audience is wrong. In the VTuber space, there's so many times where people will send another VTuber, be like, this VTuber is copying your concept. And you guys both are like, what? A black and red demon VTuber. And that's the only thing you guys have similar. And literally everything else looks different. Sometimes your audience is a little misled. No, that's not copying. Just same concept. That's about it. You know, like take it with a grain of salt and use your own due diligence with that. Okay. Because so many times I have seen in the scam like creator copying space, one of the defenses is my audience thought that this was me. And that's fair. Sometimes your audience is wrong. Not always, sometimes.
Out after she blocked me, her content went from looking like this before we met to this. And I didn't see all these posts for months because she blocked me, which seems to me like she didn't want me to see what she was posting before we met.
Isn't this the same pose? That phone in front of her face with the shoulder popped up? Like literally same pose that both of you guys are still using.
To this.
People's styles change. She could be copying you, sure. People's styles do change because this is a year later. So maybe, right? That to me, it doesn't feel like it's as bad as what Sydney feels like. Again, I'm not Sydney, so I don't know, right? It does look like Alyssa is taking inspiration from Sydney, sure. I completely agree, right? Similar bodysuits, well, same bodysuit, etc. I do think, though, enough liberty is taken to make it a little different, right? Like, she probably saw the bodysuit, was like, oh, this is cool. She styled it differently. She has a black bag, white headband on, black pants. You're wearing khaki or beige colored cargo pants, gray sunglasses, white bag. Yeah, the blocking is weird. So Alyssa stated that she felt very uncomfortable during the hangout, and that's why she blocked Sydney. Sydney says the hangout was great. And the third girl that was at the second hangout also said that the hangout seemed okay, so they didn't know. That's in the middle ground. Both of y'all are allowed to stick things on your fridge. That's what I feel, Red, right? Like, besides, both these creators post a lot. So, of course, you're gonna have some videos that look similar. Overall, though, again, the big thing is you go to their pages, their Instagram, it looks hella different. Alyssa's is very dark. It's a lot of dark browns, a lot of those black colors come through heavy in the images, right? A lot of black. Sydney is very beige, very white. The white is the predominant color featured. So that's why I'm like, I feel like it's a bit of a stretch.
She blocked me, which
Gifts under $30. So she has a video gifts under $50, another video gifts under $50. Do you know how many people post gifts under $50, gifts under $25, gifts under da 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 during December? Is she copying you? Or is this just the common video? Yeah, again though, 2 days later, right, could be a direct copy. I just need a smoking gun, and all the things that I'm seeing is, it's a bit suspicious for sure. Like, she's clearly inspired. Is this worth suing her over? I don't think so. Here they have the same tables. Okay, Amazon Black Friday, these ones are 2 days apart. Like 1 day apart, right? Which you could be like, oh, maybe she copied. I would also say though, they're not filmed the day of almost ever, if that makes sense, right? Like most of the time with these creators, they film their video days in advance and then they edit the video, then they upload the video. It could be that you posted your video on November 23rd. She has her notifications set to make sure she's immediately alerted of your post, watches your video, and then steals your script and steals every single shot, immediately goes and films it in her own room. Because again, look at how bright it is. She must have filmed it when the sun was up. So she immediately went to film it, edited the video, and posted it the next day. Or the other option is you guys have the same beige aesthetic. So therefore your homes look really similar because you guys have the same aesthetic and you guys are in the same industry. So because Black Friday was probably 2 days later, you guys both pre-filmed Amazon Black Friday videos because both of you guys are Amazon creators and they happen to look kind of similar because you guys' homes look really similar because you guys share the same aesthetic. Either she is diligently watching all your content and replicating it to a T because she's stalking you. In that case, she is wild for that and that's definitely creepy. Or you guys are in the same space.
These are just a few of the almost 100 posts in comparison to mine that she made after blocking me. You can see my post date and then hers. This is what my website looked like. She changed hers from this to this, which is
ooh, okay, wait, the website is creepily similar though.
Word for word identical to mine. She would change her hair soon after I changed mine and even got a similar tattoo after I posted mine. So in mirror photos where our faces were covered, it all of a sudden looked even more similar to me with that tattoo. I even made a collection where I designed prints for clothes and soon after she made a similar collection. I believe her intention was to look so similar to me and copy my posts so similarly that she could profit off my business. A lot of articles are claiming I'm suing over a beige aesthetic. I have never claimed to own beige and I'm not suing anyone over a color or a trend. The story the media is telling is missing so many details and the way that they're spinning it to make it seem like it's all about an aesthetic to create drama is misrepresenting the importance of this case. There is so much more to this. This lawsuit was about copyright infringement, DMCA violations, trade dress infringement, misappropriation, and vicarious copyright infringement. It's fighting for the rights of content creators because I do not believe that copying someone's content and business—
Wait a second here. It was scrolling.
That copying someone's—
Wait, I have that Amazon chair.
Trade dress infringement, misappropriation, and vicarious copyright infringement. It's fighting for the rights of content creators because I do not believe—
Wait, I'm just looking. You know this Amazon ottoman that they're like, oh, you stole it. I have this in green though, back at home in my family home. I literally have the same thing. Mine's green though, so I think I'm safe. It's not white.
That copying someone's content and business the way she did is okay. It needs to be prevented.
Okay. Again, for me, this is like 50-50, where it's like you're entitled to feel the way you feel. That's so for real. I think the big thing is that Sydney's claims would be taken a lot more seriously if there wasn't so many claims that took the attention away from the serious claims, if that makes sense, right? There's a lot of claims in here that are a big stretch. Like, you know, you see that side by side, making their bed. You guys' beds are all white. It's gonna look similar. You have white walls and a white bed. When you guys film yourself making your bed, it will look similar, duh. You guys wearing 2-piece Amazon sets. Every other person I know owns a 2-piece set that looks like this. The hyper-specific ones, okay, we can talk, right? The tattoo in the same spot, very similar design. Sydney is accusing Alyssa of copying her. The same tattoo placement, that we could maybe argue. Now we're walking into like suspicious territory. But because there are some arguments that are just like, huh? Like oh, she dyed her hair brown. The problem is when you have some arguments that don't hold water, it's gonna take the seriousness away from the arguments that actually would hold water.
So this doesn't happen to other creators. I'm finally able to talk about this because I chose to walk away from this lawsuit. I have poured thousands of dollars and so much of my time and sanity these past 2 years. If I were to continue fighting this and bring it to a trial, I would have to spend up to $500,000. I can't do that. I am a new mom and I can't spend that kind of money on a lawsuit, much less the time that it would take away from my baby and my family. I can't do it. So as much as I believe what she did was wrong, I needed to walk away from this. All I wanted from the start was to get her to stop. I never even wanted to bring this to social media, but I know that staying silent will just allow this to happen over and over again to more creators, which is why I needed to share this story. TikTok did remove her post that I considered infringing on my copyright registered post, which is a huge step in TikTok taking creators' rights seriously. I'm not sure why, but months later, TikTok also removed her account. So if you compare her new account now with mine, you're not gonna see all the posts that made our accounts look like the same person the way they did in 2023 because they've been deleted. Because of how the media has spun this to seem like it's all a lawsuit over Beige, I have received so much hate. I just hope that sharing this starts bigger conversations to prevent anything like this from happening to other creators. I also pray that she isn't receiving the amount of hate I have. I'm not putting this out there to encourage any type of hate to her, me, anyone. Please remember, we are both real people. This lawsuit has personally taken over my life. I needed to share the truth.
Her fans want her to sue news outlets. I just think it's very interesting. You have like a white creator aggressively going after a POC creator for copying and being like, oh, people are gonna mistake you for me. You know what I mean? Like, to me, it's just some type of way. I'm a little, I don't know. Don't really know how I feel about this. Cause like, okay, scrolling all the way down on their Instagram, because apparently Alyssa's original Instagram is gone. Okay, so now we're in like the late 2022s, right? I completely agree. Changing the website to match the same placement of a tattoo, that style of tattoo is really popular though. I drew one on myself like years ago, like in 2021. I was drawing that type of like line work flower on myself. Like, here's Alyssa's post. Okay, this is Alyssa in June 2022. These are her Instagram. So it's not her TikTok, right? But it's her Instagram because the Alyssa's original Instagram is gone. Here we have Sydney's this is Sydney's in 2022 as well. We're getting into late 2022. Because this is where like the main brunt of where the copying apparently happened in 2022, 2023, and then the lawsuit was in 2024. This is Alyssa, or sorry, this is Sydney. Sorry, this is Sydney. Sydney's is very white, very heavy on the colors of white in here, right? White clothing, white background. Alyssa's vibe and aesthetic is very dark, much more gray. I feel like people aren't gonna look at this and be like, wow, is that Sydney? Right? We have Alyssa, another post from Alyssa, and here we have Sydney. This is Sydney, November 2022. More posts from Sydney. One of Sydney's big claims, Sydney is being the girl who sued, is that, oh, my fans couldn't differentiate between you and me. There's so many people whose accounts look like this. And between you two specifically, your pages look quite different. Okay, you have like a top-down walking shot of you in like a flowy white top. I feel like, of course, if you cherry pick the elements that look similar, it will look similar. But there's a lot of elements between you two, your pages, that look really different. I'm looking 2022, 2023, right? Here we have a photo of Alyssa wearing green. I don't think I've seen Sydney wear green at all, like ever going down her page. You know, we got green outfit. Alyssa has posts like this, these like black and white movie vibe posts. I don't see any of that from Sydney. We can keep going up too, because I'm scrolling down into 2022. We go up a little bit more. Yeah, one is very white, one is very dark. All right, we got some beach photos. Again, because Alyssa's original TikTok is not available anymore, so maybe there's some videos that we didn't see that were directly copied. But yeah, like, you guys don't look alike at all to me. There's like a few poses and stuff, you know, like you guys have sunglasses laid out like this, I guess. Maybe there was something. The vibe is really different to me. Yeah, you guys have the same table. I'm curious. I feel like anyways, very few people would look at you guys and be like, oh, are you her or da-da-da-da-da. That's just me though. Because Alyssa does use a lot of like black and white. A lot of black and white is featured in her content. Is it because Alyssa saw your content and bought the exact same things as you? Or were these just trendy Amazon products in the top 25 Amazon products of June 7th, 2025 and you guys both bought it? Because we keep going up here Do you know how many people have an outfit like this where they take a faceless photo of this? There was literally this like brand that I loved that's been posting photos like this since 2014. This type of body photo specifically, where you see the top, the pants, but the shoulder blades up are cropped out in different color. This is the thing too. Sydney in her video was like, there's 100 different things, instances of copying. You guys post like 400 posts a year minimum. Out of the copying allegations, I feel like some are valid in terms of heavy inspo. Most of them are a bit of a stretch. So between that, you probably have like 30 pieces of content that might have heavy overlap. Given how much you guys post, it's just the nature of being in the same industry. That's what it looks like to me. This wavy mirror, do you know how many people own a wavy mirror like this? Yeah, I would say the one thing, that similar looking tattoo in the similar placement could be a bit of a stretch, yeah. I will also say I know a lot of people who get tattoos because they see it on somebody and think it's cool, so therefore they get it. It's not the same tattoo. It's similar, sure. They're both flowers, but Alyssa's is 6 flowers in one bouquet, and Sydney's flower is just one. Again, do you know how many girls have 2 big cyber sigil tattoos on their hips, like on their hip bones? We don't know who did it first at this point because so many people have it. Again, looks hot as hell, but they see it on another girl, they're like, dang, I like this. They get it on themselves. Obviously, there's nuance here because these 2 girls have met in person before, but at least personally, I don't see the resemblance between the 2 accounts. But like, as in, it's like so similar, there's grounds for a lawsuit, if that makes sense. Let me clear. Woo! Chip, do you think there's grounds for a lawsuit using your expert kitty opinion? No, come back, son. You're so cute. Please don't bite my feet under the desk, please. People in the comments of Sydney's video were like, the fact that Alyssa changed her handle to Alyssa Shield. Do you know how many of these lifestyle influencers have just their full name as their handle? Like literally every other one has their full name as their handle. Katie Fang, that's literally her name. She's allowed to use her name as her handle. So here we have Alyssa's video
or talk about the lawsuit at all. I'd planned to just move on with my life now that the case had finished. However, my family,
again, I'm just saying, y'all look so different.
Friends and loved ones are getting insane amounts of hate from a video that's sharing a false narrative and a lot of misinformation. So I felt the need to share the actual truth. Over a year ago, I was sued, and this past week the case was ended in my favor. It's really easy to make something out of nothing when you're cherry picking examples, but when you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, you realize there was never a real case to begin with. Half of the claims in this lawsuit were dismissed before my team even had the chance to file an answer. My lawyers and I showed photo metadata as well as my entire Amazon order history that proved I had ordered and filmed the product she accused me of copying weeks, if not months, before she ever posted. And the reality of the situation is that in the end, the other party had to ask for my team's permission to drop the case. What's even more frustrating is that hundreds of creators post Amazon content every single day using similar products, poses, and color palettes, but I was singled out. This wasn't just unfair, it was targeted. For the past year and a half, my lawyers and experts proved again and again and again that the claims in her complaint were simply not true and that I never copied her. I'm sharing this now so that the actual truth is out there, and I hope this helps everyone to see the full picture instead of just a cropped version. This has been the hardest year and a half of my life, and I am so glad it's finally over, but at the end of the day, this is a huge win, not only for myself, but for all creators. It proves that you can't just use meritless lawsuits to scare people out of creating. I stood up, I fought back, and the truth is, I won. I'm so grateful for my incredible legal team and for everyone who has supported me throughout this chapter, and for everyone who will continue to support me moving forward.
Also, why is everyone saying Xiedra in the comment section? Is there like a TikTok trend that happened that I missed out on? I'm just saying, this is the thing too, right? These creators don't make their videos the day of. Very few do. Very, very few. I live with somebody who is a lifestyle influencer, and she'll film her videos like days in advance because obviously she needs time to edit the videos. Maybe one day she was gonna film and the lighting wasn't good or whatever, or our neighbors are leaf blowing for the 300th time this week. So therefore, she can't film that day and she needs to film another day. The videos are almost never filmed the same day they're posted, ever. So that's why it's like the day you post can be used as a timeline. Sometimes it might end up being a little bit biased of a timeline. I would just love to see the final receipts, man. The final timestamps of everything, when everything was posted, etc. Because sometimes y'all be doing the most, man. I swear. And again, I'm just saying, look, hopefully these creators can move on, can live their best lives. Copying is a serious thing, but I do think there needs to be very strong grounds of like indications of copying to even make such an allegation. And on top of that, suing for it is pretty wild. This is the first time it's ever been heard of in this space. hopefully both creators can be well. It's been dropped now. The dismissal was filed from both parties, so they can go on, keep making their contents. I would say, honestly, the solution is just differentiate your content a bit. So many creators do the basic aesthetic. Again, nothing wrong with the basic aesthetic, but because so much is white in your video that anybody else with like a whitish background will look like they're copying you because there's not enough that's different. Again, with like my background, you have to do the most to try to make it look similar to my background, just given all of this that's going on here. Then we have enough bullet points where we're like, this is the same, this is the same, this is the same, so you can argue that. But I personally don't think there's enough grounds to really make that argument. But would love to hear your thoughts. And again, don't send hate to any parties involved because that's not what this is about. This is about supporting and just talking about creator stuff. But yeah, would love to hear your thoughts on the situation. If you like the video, I appreciate it if you like and subscribe. Don't forget to check me out on VGen. I'm there now. I have coffee, free resources for streamers and creators. Also stream on Twitch 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Saturdays at 6 p.m. PST. So hope to catch you guys there or in another one of my videos. Peace.